put forward my views about the need of modulation of teaching and parenting for optimizing the growth and development in the child. We have seen in the last few years due to Corona, the contact of the students with teachers had been less and they were exposed to internet, and through that they were being taught. Simultaneously, even parents were staying at home and they were trying to do lots of different activities for passing their time. For many years, the standard methods of schooling in which they used to do lots of activities, they used to learn lots of morals, they used to learn with the cope up with fears, that was not in practice. As a result, after the COVID, after the opening of the schools or after the lockdown, we have been seeing lots of behavioral changes in students and parents. In one hand, when students are getting unruly, on the other hand, parents are becoming very anxious about the improvement in their children, wherein they had lost the speed of writing even. A particular speed of writing is required, a particular speed of understanding and visualizing the concepts are required. That has been uh, spoiled. The students were not able to do abstract thinking because of lots of simulations being given by the online teaching. Yes, it is agreed upon that online teaching was a savior at that time, but due to lots of simulations or ready-made visuals which were given to the children, children were not children were feeling it very easy to learn through the simulations. But the abstract thinking which happens due to the physical explanation by the verbal communication done by the teacher with the body language, that was not in practice. As a result, there was fish eye attention span related problem also, like the attention span which was there in the students before the COVID era. After the COVID or after the lockdown, the attention span has reduced considerably. So they are not able to continue to pay attention in the classroom or in a particular activity. They would like to do whatever like feels good for them. They are bound or they are getting driven by their own emotions or their own random way of working. Now, at this situation, we parent and we teachers both will have to be collaborated together to bring out the best changes in the child, and that too in a very easy and in a friendly manner. Now, seeing all these challenges and based on my uh, field research and communication with the parents to teachers and working in various schools during these 2 years as a consulting director for a few schools, I had been seeing that parents have no idea about what to do with the children, because teachers have the experience of teaching various types of students for 10 to 15 years, and every year they are making around hundreds of students pass out. But for a parent, they only have one lifetime opportunity of growing them up. So the qualification of being a parent is just the biological potential to become so. But the qualification of becoming a teacher is to do certain type of studies, to learn something, to educate themselves. And after the experience only they come to know how to become a teacher and how to become a counselor. But for a parent, by the time the child grows, the parent are not able to keep the pace of learning how to do the proper parenting. As a result, they compare their children with the other children, or they compare the learning standards of their children based on their fantasies and assumptions. What they feel is, like, say, if they see that a few children are doing good in some television program, they would pressurize their children to perform in the same manner. But have they provided the same goal, role, situation, and audience and performance task-based assessment to the children? No. As a result, what happens is parents also become stressed and students also become stressed. So the benchmark standards has to be defined, that what we expect from the child on a particular time, and hence the need of counseling the parent is there. Yes, parents are the elderly ones, children should obey them, and teachers are also the elderly ones. If a parent and a teacher both will stand simultaneously together parallelly, it will be difficult for the child to understand whom to obey more and whom to like question. So for the child, both the parent and the teacher, they are elderly ones, but the teacher is more experienced in the pedagogical development, in anthropology, in child psychology, as compared with the parent, provided the parent is not a professional counselor or a doctor or a child specialist or a teacher or a professor. So there are various professions in which parents are, and they have their professional expertise. But the expertise of understanding the child lies with the ability of a teacher. And becoming a teacher is not just like doing post graduation and their B.Ed, but becoming a teacher happens when lots of experience are gathered over years of time. So regular meet with the parent and teacher is required so that parents and teachers come in the same page and they tackle the child's developmental procedure in a standard manner. So that is the need of counseling the parent. Now, who should counsel the parent? Ideally, all teachers are first aid counselors, but then we have to also see what is the age group of the teacher and what kind of experience the teacher has. Has the teacher got lots of demographic experience? Has the teacher got the experience of tackling children of various age groups? Has the teacher undergone certain professional training in counseling? So if that is done, they are fit for counseling. Otherwise, again, the parent will get exposed to somebody who will give random decisions or random suggestions. So counseling is a scientific counseling is a scientific method in which the problem is understood and a proper procedure for solving the problem is given, and for that some time is required. We have discussed about the counseling needs of the parents, who should counsel the parent. Parallel to that, it has to be understood that certain authority is required by the first aid counselor or a teacher or a counselor. Otherwise, the parent will keep himself or herself parallel to that person and will keep on arguing, will not obey. Now, when we go for any treatment to any doctor, at that time, we don't argue over the medicines prescribed, but we try it. Now, it is up to the patient whether the patient obeys or follows the instructions or not. If the inhibitions or prohibitions along with the medication is not followed, then the effect of the medication recommendations will not work. So for that, a patient has to understand that the person to whom I am paying is a doctor and understands my physique better than myself. Similarly, the parent should have the confidence on the person who is counseling him or her, and for that, some good designation and authority is required. Otherwise, the parents will think that he is another ordinary person who is giving a random suggestion. So basically, everyone can be a first aid counselor, but it is recommended that counseling is learned properly by various courses. One can do various online courses. Many specialized courses are available in Coursera and Udemy too, which can be done. So counseling can be done, counseling courses can be done by teachers and even parents. And I strongly recommend and advise everyone to at least purchase a book of child psychology and learn it well before giving birth to a child, because soon after we give birth to a child, the brain of the child starts developing, and at various developmental stage, our environment, the environment which we give to the child, the behavior which we show to the child, that gives an impact. So that is why the parents are required to be counseled. Now, how to counsel the parents? To counsel the parent, we require a proper ambience. There should be a silent room. We cannot give counseling in mass. We cannot discuss the problem of the child in general. So we have to understand the privacy of the weakness which is being discussed. There should be a proper ambience where discussion of the problem has to be there, and the person should be able to write the suggestions given, and the problem should also be written. If the counselor allows the parent to keep on speaking about the problem, the parent would be speaking about the problem for hours and hours, but they will not be able to define the problem in a few sentences. Now, if a professional counselor writes down the problem posed by the parent, then they will be able to identify a few problem which has to be tackled or solved in a few uh, weeks or a few the span of time which has been given. And considerable or measurable improvement can be shown over a period of time by following certain methods like mentor-mentee method or graphology or certain kind of exercises which will be given and has to be supervised by the parent at home too. Now, there are certain limitations of counseling the parent. Now, when I say parent, I'm talking about either father or mother. Hardly it happens that both father and mother they agree with the problem with the child. Sometimes they feel that the problem is not there, or they feel that the problem cannot be solved, or they feel that the solution of the problem lies in the control of somebody else. But a child's problem is an individual inner problem of the child, which the child has to solve by his or her own capacity building. So a counselor or teacher can only build the capacity of the child, can show the path, and can control the environment around the child to improve the weaknesses which has been written down during the counseling time. But what happens is, due to the time constant, either the father gets counseled and the mother is not, the mother gets counseled and the father is not, or if both are counseled, then the grandparents are not counseled. The common problem nowadays parents are facing is the environment which the grandparents are creating at home, like playing television or spiritual songs for long time, even during the self-study time, providing the Android mobile phone to the children. When parents are trying to keep the Android mobile phones with themselves, then the children they sneak out to their grandparents and they request, make them emotional, and take the mobile phones from them. There is no harm in handling the mobile phone or using it, but why not to replace the usage of mobile phone with the textbooks? Instead of watching spiritual discourses or music or song in the television, why not to read the spiritual books? The reading habit is not being practiced at home. What children do is what they see. They are seeing their elders or watching mobile phone and the various kind of programs which is running in the mobile phone and television. They don't see their elders reading in the evening or doing sandhya arti or part. If they will see that textbooks or some writing or reading work is being done by the elders, they will also mimic the same activity because children learn by mimicry. So holistically, all these areas has to be identified by questioning that what is the environment of the home, whether the child has a proper study table and a study chair. Do the child take out the textbooks and notebooks and keep it in the almirah soon after the school gets, soon after they reach to home? Do they again rearrange the textbook and notebooks according to the timetable, or they keep on carrying the bag day in and day out without seeing the timetable? Do the parent see the school diary and communicate with the parents in a good note? The way the parents communicate with the teacher over the phone or through the communicator or in a written note, that also matters a lot. The child observes who is blamed for the weakness of the child, whether the parent, whether the teacher, whether somebody else, or whether the child. If the child feels that the school is blamed, if the child feels teacher is blamed, then the child will never be able to identify his or her own weaknesses. So while a parent communicates with the teacher to suggest any flaw or any missing out of any activity, say for correction of paper or some kind of any other thing, these conversations should not reach the ears of the child, because the child will develop a defense system and will think that if factor X would have been better, I would have been better. But the personal development does not depend upon the factor X. It depends upon the factor which lies within the child. So together the parent and the child will have to work together to make a better learning environment and growth environment for optimizing the growth and development of the child at home and in the school. It's just 6 to 7 hours the child spends at school and writes down the notes from the text from the board or from the smart board. But the rest of the hour wherein the nutrition, rest, comfort, behavior, language, ambience, culture are to be learned. So these things are very important. So for mentoring a parent, we need to be in constant touch with the parent, and for that lots of time is required. It's not that easy. It's easy to say so, but it requires a dedicated person to do so. The kind of behavior we observe, if it is not acceptable in the school, the way it has to be communicated to the parent, the way it has to be shown to the parent, and the way the parent will take it, and the way the parent will accept it, it matters a lot. Many a times parent will not accept the behavior of the child which we see in the school, because the behavior of the child in front of among the peer group in the school is different from the behavior they show. If they will be provided the lead to express their emotions for a reason to not come to the school, they will also most of them always cry. I have examples in which I have asked many students, those who are not willing to come to school, how was the day? Why did not you like to come to the school today? Was it raining outside and we were enjoying the rain? All right, so we are trying to put a day off. Why not to apply a leave? You apply a leave rather saying that no, classes are not going on properly. So basically, the kind of question which the parent asks the child gives the lead to the thought of the child to speak lie about what is going on, what is not going on. So we should not allow the child to speak lie. We should understand that it is natural for a child to also take a day off or to take a casual leave like we also do. So just in a day or two, we cannot make a child a great human being. So a day or two, if a child wants to take a leave for a day or two or wants to go out with parent, it's perfectly all right. So for that, again, a parent should not become anxious and make a call in the school that why my child is not interested to go to the school, because everyone requires a kind of coziness, comfort. So living good life is also important. So certain things are in control of the teachers, certain things are in control of the parents, but when the parent and the teacher will not be in the same page, then the child will play in between. They will hide certain facts which happens in the school, and they will hide certain instructions given by the parent. So the parent and the teacher should collaborate with each other in such a way that their controls are overlapped and they take care of each other's control. Like if homework is given, it is not expected that the parent does the homework, but at least the parent should ensure that the child does not waste time and sits with his textbook and notebook and tries to complete it, while the homework has to be done. At that time, the use of internet has not to be there. With this, I also suggest the teachers not to give any such exploratory homework for which internet is required, because nowadays making students read book is more important, and answer to all the questions can be found out by digging our thoughts deeper and by reading the textbook. So all the homework which is based on practice work of the classwork done has to be textual in nature. So for that, no help from the internet or any blog site or any such home access site for noting down the answers of any questions are required. Yes, certain controls are required by the parents to execute at home, but then we have to understand the situation of the parent too. Many a times, both the parents are professional and they are working, and the child remains alone at home. They outsource the learning activity or taking care of the child to a tutor or some governess. At that time, the quality of such tutor has to be taken care of. The child can be even sent for certain physical activity like badminton or certain or other kind of physical activities like singing, dancing, apart from just tuitions at home. I don't think that academic tuitions are required as long as teaching is going on quite well in the school. Self study should be encouraged, and after school physical activities like development of hobby, development of other skills like typing skills, shorthand, computer programming, certain additional skills can be considered for investing, so that the time by which the parents will return back By the time the child will remain constructively engaged. So engaging the child constructively is very important. If we don't engage them, they will find their own natural way of engaging themselves. So these are the controls which a teacher executes in the school, and the parents should manage to control so that the time of the student is not wasted and the best output of the investment of time is taken care of. The situation of the parent can also be understood with the aspect like certain times the profession of the parent are such that their conduct and behavior are to be in a way which might not be very conducive for a child to learn and practice at school. Maybe the parent deals with someone or some people, those who are antisocials, and he has to become angry and aggressive. If the child learns such kind of anger and aggressiveness from the parent, then the child needs to be counseled that these are not agreeable behaviors which we can accept in a school. Because the way we behave in a school, the way we behave in a temple, the way we behave in a water park, everywhere our behavior changes. So the behavior what you are learning from somewhere has not to be practiced in the school, because school is a different place and home is a different place, and the places from where you are learning things not required is a different place. So there is we cannot stop the flow of information or the flow of ideas which is coming in through our open senses, but we can always put a policeman in our thought to control, or we can do a little bit of self policing to control and think what is right and what is not right, what to do and what not to do. If we don't have this self policing, if we don't have control ours on ourselves, then we will be vagabond and we will have no control on anything. Now parallel to these parents, students should also be counseled to obey the parents, and for that they can be given a mentor mentee method in which they can keep a practice notebook. Now why I say practice notebook and why not a rough notebook? Because moment we say rough notebook, students starts writing in rough handwriting, which is not good. So we should always call it a practice notebook. It should be a thick notebook, and the notebook can be distributed into various 5 subjects. Even 5 subject notebooks are also available, in which students should learn to answer the questions, because ultimately in the exam students will have to answer the questions in the exam. So say for example, if we set a minimum target of at least 5 pages, which can involve solving mathematics, drawing diagram, labeling the diagram, writing down, distinguish between questions, define type of questions, describe type of questions. And after every 5 page, if the mentor in a school puts a signature and the parent in the home puts a signature, the child will be in the joint control of both the parent and the child, and the child will at least do minimum self-study required for the optimized growth and development. So this mentor-mentee thing can be agreed upon by a triangular relationship between the parent, the mentor in the school, that is the teacher, and the student. So a suggestive timetable can be given, which can be followed, or if it is very difficult to follow, at least 5 pages of self-study by writing and by reading has to be done. That can be seen as a daily task to be done, a daily duty of the child to be done. If we control that, the child will develop the habit of following instructions and completing the task. Otherwise, the mind of the child will become such that they will be out of orientation and they will even forget the weekday's name even. We should
Sorry,
always, yes, ma'am.
sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Chatterjee. Like we have some questions lined up, and because of the time constraint, would you like
Okay,
to take up the questions, please?
sure.
So the
Where the
first,
question?
yes, they have posted the questions on the website, sir, as I mentioned to you.
Okay, I
And
need to open the website.
no need, sir. No need, sir. I will read out the questions to you.
Okay.
Okay. The first question is, what is the main message that you like to convey to the teachers and parents via this talk?
I want to convey that the parent and teacher should collaborate and should cooperate with each other instead of fighting a tug of war of blaming each other for the development of the child.
Okay. So, what made you take an interest in this topic, sir?
I practically felt that there was a real time problem which parents and teachers were facing after the lockdown was called off, after the reopening of the school, because of the lockdown of the school. The trainings were not proper, the schooling was not proper. As a result, lots of differences had been created, lots of expectations had been created, and for that collaboration was required.
Okay. So, please tell us about yourself and what made you take up a career in education, sir.
I was fascinated by my teachers at first, so I wanted to become like my teachers. I had no other sphere of influence from where I got influenced. So I was brought up in a school or in a locality where good teachers were there all around. So from there itself, at my subconscious level, I developed the interest of becoming a teacher and understanding children. From my early studenthood itself, I had been teaching children, and I started as a subject matter expert of chemistry. But later on, when I got promotions and I got higher positions, I learned psychology, I learned about school admission marketing, I learned about school administration. And then eventually everything came to me because of my interest in things and my uh, inquisitiveness about digging the matter deep and to find the solutions to the problems and do lots of action research on various problems.
Nice to know, sir. Can you mention about the change of role you were talking about becoming the CEO? Can you throw some light on that too?
Yes, soon after the school was reopened, I joined Delhi World Public School Dhar as a principal. Now, when I joined the school at that time, I found that the head counts were around say 600, and then I did a little bit of admission marketing, and then the admission rose up to 1200. Now, what we did is we also had opened lots of feeder schools around, due to which what has happened is we are getting lots of admissions. And then, due to the love and affection of the management, I got promoted, and then I became the CEO of the group.
Great to know, sir. So, what do you think will the long-term impact of the online teaching on the children's education?
Online teaching and learning has to be there and will be the future of learning. But schooling is not meant for learning the curriculum only. Schooling is a place where the child learns to cope up with the peer, to be good with the one whom they like, to be good with the one whom they do not like, to play and to collide with each other, to say sorry, and to learn social behavior. So, school is not a place where we only focus on developing the concepts of physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics, and English. School is a place for socializing the children. Now, social media is a metaverse. It is virtual social networking. So the physical social networking is required so that the child understands the importance of hurting each other, importance of not hurting each other, importance of good touch, bad touch. All these things can only be uh, learned in the school itself, which is not possible to learn thoroughly in online classes. So hybrid schooling will be the future and is the future now, wherein content will not be the problem for the child. Content can be learned, but then the practicing that, like like no online media can give a child a goal to achieve, a role to play, a situation in the ambience where performance task can be given for the assessment. So what I said is GRASP: goal, role, audience, situation, and performance task. It cannot be given online completely for them to grasp the knowledge. So for that environment, for that stage, school is required. So that is the future of schooling. School will be giving an environment to the child, a platform to the child for social development.
Right, sir. Nicely put. So, do you think the regular traditional offline education is currently the best method for teaching?
We should always accept the technology. Technology was there even before. Earlier, we were having offline projectors and it made teaching easier. But how we use it, that matters. We cannot completely do away with the technology. We have to accept the technology. It is the technology because which we are able to connect with you and we are able to collaborate with school reformers even. So physical teaching is required. The human touch of a teacher is required in the classroom. The teacher's ability to do some calculation on the board without referring any other material. The teacher's ability to do the derivation of a formula on the board, and the child seeing the teacher doing it without referring to any other media, that is required for the child to understand that yes, I can also do the same in my answer book, which is not possible in online, because in online you never know whether a teacher or a tutor is not referring to any other media behind the screen and is teaching you something. But in the classroom you see a teacher performing like a examinee on the green board, and the student develops the confidence of performing like the teacher in the examination on the answer script. So the green board and the teacher is synonymous, or is just like analogically same as student and the examination paper. If teacher is able to perform spontaneously without referring any textbook or any reference book, then students will be able to write down the answers in the paper without applying any unfair means. So teachers performance is required. Just like Netflix has come up, just like YouTube entertainment methods have come up, just like television has come up, the importance of theater has not come down. The importance of learning drama and speech has not come down. So the physical presence and the base is required for us to reach to the space. So we cannot forget the base to reach to the space. The base has to be there. So the physical method of teaching, the conventional method of teaching will be there and will be a strong base even in future also.
True, sir. So the online education can be an extra help, not the main stream of teaching.
It will be a hybrid method.
Yes, sir. So isn't teaching always about modulation depending on the children being taught? What is the new thought here?
The role of a teacher ideally is to make a learner a developed learner. If we make a learner a developed learner and we teach the child to learn himself or herself by hunting the concepts and the knowledge, then a teacher will not be required. A teacher is required to make the subject feel easy in the beginning, but a teacher cannot solve all the infinite number of questions which are possible in the classroom. So a teacher is supposed to make the child give a start from the known to the unknown, and to spark a light so that the child keeps on running with the torch or mashal, what we call, to search and hunt for the knowledge further. We never know that what kind of lecture, what word, and which motivational talk and which topic gives the turning point to a particular child to pick up a small topic and become a researcher in that. Just like if we take the example of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Now, you never know that which particular word or which particular sentence of a teacher might have motivated him to become a rocket scientist. He could have become anything else too. So, like for me, if I am a chemistry teacher, what has fascinated me to take up chemistry? What has fascinated me to do good in chemistry? Maybe the style in which the teacher was teaching. That might have fascinated the way that critical problems were being solved by the teachers. That might have fascinated me.
Right. So on that note, the teacher or the parent, who understands the child better?
It depends upon who looks into the cognition, affection, and psychomotor activity of the child. If a parent loves the child blindly, will not be able to understand the child. If the teacher only transacts the lesson in the class and goes, will not understand the child. Anybody else, it could be an uncle, it could be a shopkeeper, any elderly person who has the emotional connect with the child will be able to understand the child. It could be a batchmate also.
Right, sir. So you spoke about counseling a parent. Why do you think there is the need to counsel the parent, and is this practically possible?
It is practically possible, and there is a counseling need also, because the qualification of becoming a parent is the biological potential to give birth to a child. But the qualification of a teacher is to at least become postgraduate and to do B.Ed and lots of experience of transacting the lessons and managing classroom and the behavior of the children, which a new parent will never have because a parent after a new couple after marriage without any formal training of becoming a parent biologically land up becoming a parent.
Right, sir. So you have mentioned that the school is the place for a child to develop social skills. So what can a teacher do to promote a child to develop social skills?
There are various socio-cultural activities which are done. The first thing what you will see that the students walk in line in the school. That shows that when we are in a mass, we give space to others. It is a big lesson which we learn in the school, which is not thought so deeply. When we ask children who are in thousands of numbers to walk in line, you will see that there is no crowd, but the students they keep on walking through one side and they keep on wishing their teachers. So what they learn how to wish their elders, how to keep proper space, one hand distance, and to walk from one side to allow the other line to pass through from the other side. So these are the social skills they learn. When they play, they collide with each other, they say sorry, they quarrel, and they again become friends because there is no option. They have to be in that class even if they will like or they will not like with each other. So they learn to cope up with each other, and that is how the school in a very subtle manner develops social skill in the children. You will find the children those who are not from good school, they are very unruly. They will not be able to walk in line. They will always try to barge in into a line in any kind of a counter, say it is a fee counter or a railway reservation ticket counter. They will try to barge in. You ask that person who is barging into a line whether you are from good school, you will find that he or she will not be from a good school. But you will find that good classy people, they will always be, they will have good civic sense. They will not spit here and there. They will keep the wrappers of the chocolate, toffee, or any other food in their pocket until they will not find a dustbin. They will always wish each other. They will carry themselves well. They will know what to speak and how to speak. They will know how to express their displeasure. They will know how to control their anger. So these all happens in a good schooling environment.
Right, sir. These are the small disciplinary things they will learn as a child. So what are the roles of the teachers in the crucial stages of the development of a child?
See, the child develops from pre-operational age to the operational age, pre-teen and teen. That is how a teacher in a school takes care of the children. After the schooling, when they go to the college, they are not taken care of so much because their only education and vocational training is important. Now in school, when the child is in the play group, at that time the child learns to leave the lap of the mother and to become dependent on the mother and to become dependent on professionals. See, we become dependent on postman, we become dependent on driver, we become dependent on doctor. Similarly, the first thing what a child learns when they step into the school is to leave the dependency of mother and father and to surrender himself or herself to a professional, that is the mother teacher in nursery, LKG and UKG. After that, they learn to upgrade themselves and to take upgraded services from the subsequent PRTs, TGTs, and PGTs. So they learn about the ranking of services, that for better service I need to uplift my benchmark standard. I need to qualify a certain examination, then I will be tackled by a better professional. So they learn the hierarchy of social system, that to become eligible for certain thing we need to qualify certain examination or assessment criteria. So many students will find that they are not happy with getting assessed, or they are not happy for being interviewed. They are not happy to take lots of courses and write examination. Mostly you will find those children are those children who take admission late in the school. So the student those who take admission late in the school, say in class 2 or in class 3, and had been doing homeschooling, they are very uncomfortable in taking examination, and they're very uncomfortable in following instruction. But if a child is put up in nursery playgroup, then they learn to hand over themselves to a professional hand for betterment to happen, and they comply with the norms which are set for everyone, and they take up various norm reference test and criterion reference test, and they come up slowly and slowly.
Well explained, sir. That ends the question answer round. School Journal of Education and schoolreformer.com. Thank you for the talk and for patiently answering all the questions. We also thank the audience for participating in the event. We will end the session now, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.